Okay. All right. Let's get straight down to business, bro. So I'm I'm doing a story on the transfer portal. I mean, obviously, you and I with Darrell, we talked about this a year and a half ago when Jared was headed into his senior year, and now I think that this is really beginning to be magnetized. We'll get to some of the downfalls of it in a minute, but from what you've seen, what are some of the positives of the transfer portal at the college game as you've seen it?
I mean, I think the only positive is college coaches saving their jobs. Like, I feel like they're the ones who are being the most helped by the portal, because it gives them opportunities to get older, to reload, so to speak, in ways that they hadn't been able to before. You know, so I think the coaches are the ones who are winning first. I think kids are winning in that they don't have to deal with the waivers and they can play immediately. That's where I think the kids are winning.
Yeah.
But so those would be my probably the two greatest positives out of it: coaches saving jobs, contract extensions, and kids having an opportunity to move and try something new without sit.
Look, I think that you bring up two great points there, so I'll ask you both of them individually. From the college coach perspective, does that then almost give them a crutch to be able to lean on instead of having to build a program from scratch? They know they can do it this way instead of having to take their time and building up a young team?
I think it does, but if you talk to them directly,
Sure.
some of them don't like going through this. Like
Right.
it makes it tougher because you then now have to recruit what you already have and pray that they stay. But then when they don't, you're in this big old portal chasing hundreds of thousands of kids just like everybody else. Versus the old way where you're a little more selective,
Sure.
because you're only bringing in a certain amount of kids in a class. I mean, a coach could lose up to 8 to 10 guys in one sitting,
Wow.
as a season ends. So that makes it tough too. So I mean, it's there's the good and the bad that comes with it.
Look at Coach Blakeney over there at Howard, because I love Coach Blakeney. Obviously, I call their games, so I love him. I love that team. I was looking at that squad. I was like, they're going to come back next year. They're going to win the MEAC again next year. They may even go even further. In 1 week, he lost 3 starters to the portal in 1 week.
I know we're talking about the portal, but there's another piece that adds on to this, and it's NIL.
Yeah.
Kids win at a lower level. Kids see success. Kids see their friends getting at other universities and want a piece of that pie.
Wow.
So they make decisions versus what could be great for an institution, and I believe themselves, to say, I'm chasing the money. I've said it. The portal, it's hard for me to say,
Come on.
but the portal, it, it's set up. It's not set up in the way that people believe. I think it's set up for other reasons, and I'm afraid of the things that are going to happen on the tail end of this. Kids who don't graduate, kids who are running from adversity, creating a community, and I'm just going to use the black community, which we've always said is a struggle in our black households of men not staying and finishing and fighting through tough times. We're creating an atmosphere for all kids, whatever race, creed, or color, whatever gender, to run when tough times hit. And that's not what life is about. And so that part of it's tough for me. But I also get wanting to be in a place where you have opportunity for what you've dreamed of. So I get that part of it. And then I say the NIL. I think it's quick money. I think it's teaching our kids to chase quick money versus what's the long money. Because everybody's not getting it in NIL.
Right.
And the things I hear, even with the colleges, are telling these guys they're getting a certain amount, and then they get there, they don't get that amount. Like, there's a lot more to this thing, and it's so fresh. And it's just mind-blowing to me that when both of them were passed, the person that passed them walked away from his job. Call me conspiracy theorist, call me whatever you want. It's just, there's some things to it that I don't think everyone's looking at maybe in the way I am. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a guy who's a believer in conspiracy theory, but I'm watching what I believe is going to happen, and I can't wait to see the data in the next few years, because that portal keeps getting bigger, and there's a lot of kids right now who were at a home where they had opportunities to play, get a degree, put some things in place for their life, and now are sitting without any of that opportunity at all. Wow. And that's crazy to me.
Of course, we see the way that that the portal doesn't only operate at the collegiate level, but just like with everything else in life, it kind of begins to come downhill, and that comes into our specific lanes, being high school athletics. How has the portal affected high school recruiting for student athletes?
It's tough. We're having hard times to help find these seniors homes, because the institutions now and the coaches now at the next level, they're chasing the portal first. Older, more mature guys who've been through it, an opportunity to be older to win. Look at some of the teams in your Final Four. They were older and mature physically, mentally, and they were there for a reason, versus some of our blue bloods who've traditionally gotten the best of the high school kids who were younger, immature, not ready for all that adversity yet. And I think the landscape of college sports is going to change, or it already has.
Wow.
That you're not going to see the blue bloods always be the best of the best while this is going on. It's going to happen, and those guys are going to start chasing the portal in different ways, so that they can stay with the Joneses. So, I'm afraid of the kids whose dreams are going to get crushed in this, and that's the high school senior who's worked for all these years to get to a point, and that dream being to have an opportunity to go to a high school, play the game that they love, get a great education, continue to get better, and believe that that was the way for them to go to college, so their parents wouldn't have to pay for it. Or certainly if they had to pay for it, most of the time they're going to an academic institution where that degree meant more than anything in the world. And right now, it's a struggle for those kids to get it, because if you're not in the top 50, they're not chasing you guys down right now anymore as a high school student. They're waiting to see what the portal has to exist for them, and that's tough.
And that's kind of where I was going to go next. So you look at that top 50, you look at those 4 and 5 stars, and obviously those kids, like, they're so talented and gifted that they're going to be recruited anyway. So where is kind of like the mark of the line of demarcation? Where does that hit, in which you've got a kid that 5 years ago would have been recruited, but now today not so much? Where is that line? Is that in like the 3-star range, that 2-star range? Who is that kid that's most affected right now?
Definitely 3 and down, but even 4s. But definitely 3 and down. Mm-hmm. I mean, the kids for years that I would say were no-brainers to go to schools in the American East, the NEC, the MAC, they're having a tough way to get into schools. Like, I mean, we just got a kid who just committed to a school here recently. Almost any other year, that kid playing in our league is an all-league player, starting at a school like ours, and in this conference playing against the level he's played against in his 4 years, would have been done preseason. Now he's just getting done a week ago.
Wow.
That's tough. That's tough. I mean, even trickling down to the Division III guys. I got Division III guys with super grades who play in this league, who play against some of the best players in the country, maybe even the world, that are having a tough time even at that level to get opportunity. I fear and I feel for our high school seniors.
Because obviously you have an opportunity to have these one-on-one conversations. What do the college coaches say? Because I've talked to a parent before, and the parent was like, look, like, the college coach is completely honest with me. He says he's got to try the portal out first, and the portal will come first, and then I'll get to your child. Are the coaches as straightforward with you as a high school coach and someone who's been doing this for so long?
Yeah, I don't think they're holding any cut cards. They're telling you right up what they got to do and why they're not recruiting or coming after your kid right now, and that he might be a kid that's on the back burner. They've been honest. I can't fault them for that part. They've been honest and true to who they are and what they're doing. As I said to many of them, don't come in here talking culture, because if you're chasing somebody else's, I don't know, mistake, then you're not building culture. So don't use those words when you come in this door. And if you are chasing the portal and that's what you're doing, be honest in that way too. I think honesty is the best policy. I mean, I want you to always be able to walk in my door and recruit my kids whenever that time comes. But if you can't recruit the kid that's current, don't hem and hop. Just tell the truth. I mean, what's for you is for you. I can't knock a man for not trying to make sure he has a job and sustainability for his family. But I just feel for a high school kid, because I asked the question a couple years ago to Paul Biancarni, who was on air when all this stuff was coming about. And that question was, you can go back and find the footage. The question was, what are you telling high school kids in terms of recruitment now? And Paul's answer, maybe not verbatim, but his answer was, if they find someone that loves them, they better jump on it.
Wow.
Don't wait.
Wow. I'll take this too. I actually do remember that quote, and it was powerful then, and obviously it becomes even more apropos with each passing semester, not even year, but each passing semester. I want to take this to the personal level now, because again, obviously you had to do this dance involving not only one of your student athletes, but one of those student athletes being your son, who has all of the tools, obviously, to have been a Division I student athlete, but you went through some of these hurdles yourselves. What was that process like, dealing with not only from a coach's perspective, but also your own son?
It sucked. It was terrible. I thought he was shortchanged in a lot of ways in terms of the way he probably deserved to have been recruited. Now, I do believe he landed in a great place. In playing for an unbelievable man and human being, who I believe, he showed me something different than most right now, because that year he still brought in 6 freshmen.
Wow.
Nobody's doing that anymore. So, God works in mysterious ways. But in the way that the gut punches that my guy got from the transfer portal, and the way that things were changing so swiftly, it was terrible. And when you've been in it as long as I have, and had kids go to different places that have been successful for those places, and now to not even be able to make some of those calls to get them back in the door for your own, that's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah.
And for him to, he got the double whammy, or triple whammy, because you got to remember, Jared got hurt as a sophomore, didn't get to play but a third of the year.
Yeah.
Junior year, nothing, pandemic.
Right, yeah.
Then you're coming back to this transfer portal and NIL. He got punched in the face 3 times.
Sure.
But as I say, God has a way and found a way, and he's at one of the best universities academically in the world, at Northeastern. So, he was blessed that someone believed in him and gave him an opportunity. But unfortunately, everyone's not getting that.
When you look at that, whether we're talking about Jared or we're talking about one of your other student athletes, has it begun now to change the mindset of a kid, a junior or a senior, when they're looking at this and now they know that this is going to be a challenge? Do you see any changes maybe in the way that they play, do or don't practice, even choose high schools based off of the recruiting and getting to that next level?
Well, I definitely see parents realizing they want to go to places or have their kid go to a place that's traditionally been in a position to give kids opportunity from their success and from their development of the young man. So you definitely see that, but you also see the kids jumping and moving around at our level,
right?
Because they're so concerned with being a top name and being at the top of that list, so that they have that opportunity. So this thing has trickled down all the way almost to grassroots. I mean, it's definitely in grassroots. But when I say grassroots, I'm talking about close to the down to the middle school level.
Wow. Wow. What's the, I'll get you out here on this, Coach. What's, if there is one, what's the fix?
I think the first fix, you got to slow the portal down, and that won't slow down without making kids sit. Kids got what they wanted. That was the NIL, opportunity to make money off their name, image, and likeness. Well, if they're getting that opportunity, then what's wrong with them sitting a year if they're going to transfer? Because I just don't want to see a world of young men, and I'm speaking more to the men than the women right now, but a world of young men who are running and running every time adversity hits. The best who have ever made it in this world, and I don't care what it is, sport, music, theater, they had adversity. And adversity is what made them stronger.
Wow.
And why they were able to be successful and to be the best in their marketplace, whatever that is. If we keep running from adversity, we're going to have a lot of people running the streets. And you know what starts happening when we have people running the streets? Crime, people mixed up in the wrong things. And that's what I'm most fearful of this whole transfer portal, and the ability to allow us that every time we don't like something, we just run.
So, all right, we're done.
Ricardo report, bruh.